Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel the...
Good morning and welcome back to the Trailer Park. I am Chanda-Masta and we have special guest host every Thursday, Craig Pasta Jardula. Welcome, Pasta. How are we?
Hey, Chanda, remember, war is stupid.
War is stupid. It's so stupid. It's a waste of human life and money and resources and energy and stupid.
Dumb. But
Dumb.
it does benefit those who, make a shit ton of money, steal the resources and everything. I think that's why when we were talking about taxing the rich, we can't tax their profits anymore. We got to take away their land. We got to reclaim their resources. I'm not saying that I'm a full-blown communist and that the state or the people should own shit, but we got to find a way to take it away from them because these psychopaths are ruining this planet, ruining our lives, keeping us pitted against each other, bringing death and destruction. It's time. We got to figure something out. But before we do anything, we all got to get on the same page, Chanda.
I don't know. I mean, they intentionally keep us splittered into a million pieces, right? But right now, I got to tell you, I do have a story on the deck about a huge worker strike in LA. All the hotel workers are going on strike for 4th of July. So if you're planning on going into LA for 4th of July, don't expect much service. And I stand with them. And, shutting down their means of fucking production is the only way we ever hurt them, Pasta. Every time I stand with Shama Sawant and we shut down our ports up here in Seattle, it's the only time we see fucking results out of these assholes. So I stand with all the workers that are out there striking all along the West Coast this week and this coming week. And I don't care if it fucks up supply chain demand. I don't care. I'm used to our supply chain being effed up by the government anyway. So why wouldn't I be okay with it for the workers?
I always look at this as a stepping stone, right? Like I love the unionization. I even can tip my hat off to the unionization of what Amazon did. But at the end of the day, what are we going to do? Wyatt said it great the other day. These people are going to be happy when we unionize DoorDash. I mean, it's what we have to do is get into the mindset that we have to change the whole labor market in the United States. We have to start making stuff. We have to start fixing stuff again. I don't know how we get there or achieve that because those are in charge make it almost impossible for any business to open up and make anything here because they can't be competitive on the market. They have this whole situation just twisted. So we have to also keep our eye on the ball that we need to get back to some type of manufacturing base here in the United States. The one thing really quick, Chanda, and I'll hand it right back off. One of the things that I did appreciate what Donald Trump was trying to do when he was going back and forth in their little sanction wars with China. And he was like, Xi Jinping, I'm going to bring him to his knees. China has no, whatever. We knew that China was like, yeah, buddy, you have no choice. We make all your shit. We have all the resources. We have the labor force. You will do business with us. But when Donald Trump tried to sanction certain things in China, he was trying to get a manufacturing base to come back to the United States. But the oligarchs over here and all the corporate entities are like, no, bud, we'll just go somewhere else.
There,
we got Vietnam,
Mexico, or Vietnam,
we got Mexico,
Cambodia. Yeah,
we ain't bringing it back home. So, sorry.
Yeah, but how does that go in sight with their global war, I guess? I don't know. I heard yesterday that the White House and the State Department stance is that it's an unequivocal Russian will, surrender, or because we have to scare China. So we're not going to accept anything less than a full fucking surrender from Russia.
That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen.
Exactly. It's like, what delusional world are you idiot warhawks living in? Yeah. That's not going to happen. Well, good morning, chat. The chat is already all going off. Jack says, good morning, Pasta and Chanda. Glad to catch you live. Thanks so much for the super chat over on the YouTubes. We are on all kinds of channels this morning. We are on Twitter. We are on Rokfin. We are on Rumble. We are on 2 YouTube channels this morning. So good morning to everybody.
I'm a little confused, Chanda, because it says all these people in the chat are popping off. Is this all from what's up, Willie Bragg? Love Willie Bragg. Good guy. Only met him once. Handsome young fella, but watch some of his videos. Don't agree with everything he says, but he's got a good point of view, and he explains what he's talking about very clearly. So if you haven't checked it out, you can really grasp at it. He's a great compartmentalizer. this YouTube chat, is this the YouTube chat right here on this read stream? Because
This
I'm
is
looking at
yes. This
I'm
is the
looking at the
combined
YouTube itself. It
chat.
says 3 people watching, and I see 9 people talking in the chat.
Okay, because you're probably on the Trailer Park Pundits YouTube channel. If you go over to Beauty and the Boomers channel, there's probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 sitting over there for right now. So we have multiple. So this funnels all of the YouTube chat into one place. So you're getting all of the YouTube chats right there. You're good.
So I'm hanging out in Trailer Park with just a nobody, with 3 of us.
No, I'm trying to build my side stuff, but it's hard to do when you have a main channel, and you know that because you have Convo. And if you would try to start to build something that was just pasta, it's hard to do. People still just go. So I kind of just run both, and wherever you catch me,
Yeah, but I'm like, you got Beauty and the Boomer, Roar. I was looking at Roar. I'm on an Easter egg hunt for your shit.
I know, and it's hard. That's why, that's why I struggle. But yeah, here's some of our channels. Go away, little people. I don't know how to get us off there. Anyways, so this will be our Thursday hangout from now on. We're not going to call it To Hell and Back because I want to save To Hell and Back. And I saw somebody talking about this in the chat right off the bat. I want to save it for addiction talk, when we want to cover addiction, big pharma, COVID, those type of things. I want people to just recognize when they see To Hell and Back, we're talking about addiction. So we'll do a To Hell and Back segment inside a Thursday show, but we're just going to call Thursday show whatever it is,
Yeah.
I just think, and that way we can cover foreign policy, because we end up covering a lot of foreign policy when you come on, and I don't know what that has to do with To Hell and Back. So I created a new slide deck for us and got some new cards up, and this is one of them.
What is with you using my old headshot from Hollywood?
Oh my
You
God,
love
I
that
have
one, don't you?
all your headshots. Are you kidding? I have every headshot you have done.
I'm going to get new pictures taken. I already called my boy Omar in LA. I said next time I'm in there, we're doing headshots. He goes, got it. I'm gonna bring hats. I'm gonna spend the whole day. I'm gonna hold glasses of wines. I'm gonna put flowers in my mouth. I'm gonna go by the water. I'm gonna go in the desert. I'm gonna go everywhere and take pictures.
Okay, influencer.
No, I just people say all the time when they look for pictures to put up, they only got those pictures or. So.
Oh, I go in, you'll see them on the deck. I'll go into a lot of your good pictures and crop you out with, all of our editing programs. So a lot of the pictures I get, like today's cover card, that's one of your newer pictures that was over on your Twitter. So
you put me on John Kirby's face.
I did not. Oh yeah, Oz did.
Blame it on Oz. You
Okay,
sanctioned it. It was on your show.
Oz, you boomer, you did it. That's probably the least we've done to you, Pasta. If you were paying attention, we put you on some pretty bad people.
You guys always put me on stuff. I know.
I have a ton of Pasta refaces that are hilarious. Well, I grabbed this tweet from you from yesterday. It looks like there's a new CEO at the Washington Post. He's the former CEO of the Gates Foundation. What do you have to say about that?
Well, this is kind of like, all right, so. If everybody doesn't know, and I'm going to make the tweet later on because I'm going to get Jamie on it right now. Jamie's cheese slice. He's doing some engineering for us here and there. We're going to put out the tweet so we can have everybody know that Dr. Cornel West will be on the Convo Couch tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, right? And this is going to be his hardest interview yet because obviously he hasn't had to face the COVID fire, the pushback in Ukraine. I don't think a lot of people understand. When we talk about the COVID, almost immediately, the ties between this man, Anthony Fauci, and the Gates Foundation was right there. It was already in the works. We know from Dr. David Martin, who's talked about this for quite some time. There was already a financial incentive in place before COVID even hit the streets. We knew it was there, vaccine, the whole 9 yards. So we understand that. What Jeremy Lafredo put out over there, I don't know if people understand this stuff. The connections are right in front of our face.
World Economic Forum.
You go back to that tweet really quick, the one that I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, people have to see this. It takes a little digging, a smidget of digging, right? First of all, I know I'm good looking enough to have a show, but sometimes I wonder if I'm smart enough. I'm not college educated, but yet I can't understand why most of the people out there who have shows are not seeing this or who are not pointing this stuff out. This stuff is like right in front of our face. And the connections, you got it up? Let me see. All right, so click the second one, the Washington Post. Look at the article. Look what he's saying. Because I can't even find it right now. Click the Washington Post one.
Second, because that's just a screenshot.
All right, so
but I'm actually I'm on your page, so I'm looking for that right now.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. Did somebody take it down?
If you retweeted it, where would it have gone?
I couldn't see it there. Maybe I wasn't on replies. Hold
I'm
on.
going through your whole page right now, and I don't see it.
Dude, I think they took it down.
That's crazy
Let me
because
see
I
real quick.
just screenshotted it yesterday. Please tell me you're gonna ask Cornell about this licking Fauci's ass video.
Shh.
I asked RBN to ask too.
Chanda, be very, very quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
We're hunting rabbits. I don't see that.
That's
that
what I'm
tweet
saying.
any
That
longer.
interview is going to be tough for Dr. Cornell West because, I mean, we're very unique leftists, all right? There are very few of us on the left who said, no, we're not playing these COVID protocol games. I still think Cornell West is in that kind of predicament where a lot of the people who are working on his board, a lot of people who follow him, you talk about the Medea Benjamins, you talk about the Chris Hedges and stuff, they're still playing into the COVID narrative. And when you listen to that video that I have of Dr. Cornell West with Dr. Fauci, some of the stuff that Dr. Cornell West said, it made me pause it, throw down my pen, walk away in anger, because he played into that whole kind of divisive role that was going along there. Like, how can you not wear a mask? How can you not care about your fellow citizen? Instead of recognizing the fact the greatest sin was the censorship because we didn't allow other voices to come to the table and talk about these things, about the benefits, the risk versus the rewards of masks. We never even had those conversations, nor were we allowed to. So, Dr. Cornell West, we got questions for you.
Well, listening yesterday, I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to his interview with RBN yesterday, and
a little bit.
Nick and they did a great job over there. But and it's going to be hard for you, Pasta. I could see them yesterday as somebody who interviews people who, has done this. I could see them struggling to get the questions in, right? Cornell is long-winded. He likes to keep going, so they get a question in there, and then it's hard to push back on some of these people. There was, a couple of things I would have pushed back on him with, and that is the question of fascism, man. They have this ideology that Trump is the fascist, and that went hand in hand with the COVID narrative. That's why, you're a terrible Trumper if you don't go get the jab, And I see this from Mariana Williamson too. Kim Iverson got Marianne to say the same shit the other day. Oh no, the Dems aren't fascist. Trump's the fascist. Well, as a Democrat who has been in this media space for the last 6 years, bullshit. I have seen more censorship and more authoritarian measures under the Democrats than we ever saw under Trump. And I just feel like he really needs to be shaken about this. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't recognize this right off the bat.
Yeah. You know what, Chanda, you hit it right on the nose because, and listen, a little leak here. We'll leak that because that's how we're going to start this interview off, right? Because there's two parts of this whole situation. Number one, the fact that you call Trump a neo-fascist and Joe Biden a neoliberal disaster is really it's disingenuous, right? Okay, you're still excusing the excuse to vote for Biden over Donald Trump. I'm not going to vote for either one of them ever. But let me say this much: gun to the head, Biden or Trump. Trump 1,000%. What Biden did immediately when he got into office, he put that idiot Anthony Blinken, all the same people, Jake Sullivan, and
they did that on purpose.
Yes.
And we're seeing that now, Pompeo yesterday out there throwing Trump under the fucking bus first thing in the morning. Oh, he did wrong. They intentionally kissed his ass. And I know you watched that Tucker breakdown a couple of days ago. Tucker was pretty dead on when he was talking about those who seek to be close to Trump so that way they could attack him from the inside, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. Everybody always says that Donald Trump would hire the right people. He didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do it at all. He doesn't have the insight to what's going on.
He filled the swamp with the swamp.
That's terrible. Yeah. Some of the people and listen. Also, too, digressing to the point that General Flynn. I thought General Flynn was a great compromise. General Flynn is anti-China AF, but he understood what was going on in Syria. Didn't want us devoting so many resources there, and that was Obama's war. Just like this whole Kiev situation has a lot to do with Obama, Hillary Clinton. It's been in the works since 2014.
Yeah.
What Biden did as soon as he got back into office is he hired Victoria Nuland, who's got this hard on, and their number one goal was regime change in Russia by putting a gun to the Russian Federation's head to go in there, because everybody thinks that Putin is making decisions by himself. No, there's a government. Putin was put into power after that drunk ass freaking Boris Yeltsin fall on his face, fucking drunk. Just disaster in Kosovo.
And he was a disaster. And you know what Putin did? Putin let him kind of sail off into the sunset and go live out in the country and never be talked about again, because Putin was good friends with him. He came up under him, but he recognized how terrible he was. He is. So he's dead now. But do you think that Cornell and Chris Hedges and this kind of little group here, they confuse nationalism with fascism?
Absolutely.
Because I see the Trump and the Republicans as the nationalism, right? They're into the nationalists.
There is a kind of baked in, call it what you will, and I don't want to share it. People,
is it academia?
Well, I was going to say there's like a little racism built into the situation, like the nationalism that they have in the West, the Americans. Because I was in a room full of Carrie Lake people. There was 1,000 of them, and she's pro-Trump. Trump is competing.
Right.
A lot of people think that Carrie Lake is going to be the selection. And I don't want to say it's racism, but it's definitely a form of ignorism, right? Being ignorant, not understanding what we are doing there to drove people up. But then Donald Trump said a couple days ago, can you believe it? Sleepy Joe, he's taking oil from Venezuela, a dictator. You know, we would have had Venezuela if I was still in office.
We could have that oil.
And he goes along with the sanction regimes of sweating the people out and starving them out, so that then he can go in and try to take power or get the person that we want in there. That's the same type of language. So there is a form of ignorism built into that nationalism, where they do think that these countries are shithole countries just by their own freaking, their own, not without factoring in the fact that the West is so involved what happens in their countries and in the global economy. In other words, we're suffocating them, but yet they think they've done this by themselves because they're ignorant Latin people that can't get their shit together. That's kind of baked into that nationalist mindset of the Trumper. There is a form of fascism there where corporations are calling shots and whatnot, but it's not neo-fascism. That's Joe Biden. Big tech, big pharma, military-industrial complex.
Basically the government, hand in hand, exactly.
Baked in. He is the neo-fascist. But my question to Dr. Cornell West will be this. Because Dr. Cornell West says that he's going to go into Trump land and try to talk to these people and try to get them over there. And his so far, what he is stating, that he's going to go in there and let them know that Trump is a Pied Piper. He's a neo-fascist, and you don't have to fall for that. Well, if you're using that type of language of calling him a neo-fascist, you're saying his supporters are supporters of neo-fascism. That's not going to fly. They're not going to even listen to you, Dr. Cornell West, when you address them like that. How do you expect to get Trump people, a decent amount of them, if that's your goal, if you're going to go there and belittle them and spit in their face and call them neo-fascists? You're going to either, one, tell them they're stupid and they don't know what's going on, or two, they're supporting fascism. That's not the way to do it. Chanda, what fucking leftist do you know? And I'm not patting myself on the back here, but what leftists do you fucking know that will go into these Trump events, that will do these Trump events, that will talk to fucking libertarians like me? I know these people.
Exactly.
This is my mother. This is my cousins. This is my friends. These are my neighbors. People are like, why aren't you flipping out about the Zionist shit with RFK? I live in Boca Raton. I went to school to Boca Raton.
Yeah, they're the biggest Zionists in the world. Yeah.
I have Zionist fathers where I hung out with their daughters and their sons that were some of the greatest people in the world. And they think they're justified in what they're doing. I think they're wrong 100%. But that's why I don't go crazy and flip out when RFK does that stuff.
So can I ask you, how much of our policy is pushed by that? How much of our foreign policy is pushed by Zionists and the drive to bring back the second coming of Christ? Because that's ultimately what it boils down to, Pasta, at the end of the fucking day, right? They got to rebuild the temple.
Yeah. Well, listen.
That's crazy, though. That's crazy that almost all of the global policy is driven by a religious factor and a prophecy. And we never talk about it. We never acknowledge it. We never say that's the true drive of Zionism ever.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
Well, I think they use Zionism as a front. I still think it's just global elites that want to control everything at all time and stuff like that. And let me just say this much. Dr. West,
Ironically, they're evil.
best. There's nobody like Dr. West when it comes to
I agree.
talking about Israel-Palestine. And I think he needs to apply that same type of logic to trying to talk to Trumpers, because you start calling them neo-fascism. And first of all, baby, come on, Dr. West. Don't be sitting there calling Biden a neoliberal disaster. He's a neo-fascist to the fullest degree. He's more of a fascist, more of a warmonger than Biden, than Trump ever was. I ain't here going saying Trump is right, but stop. You're still manufacturing consent for your mistake, your wrong vote, for telling people to vote for Biden in the first place. That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? But
okay, so now he's announced that he's moved from the Movement for a People's Party to the Green Party. That happened over on Katie Halper's show night before last, and I'm like, what? Did he really? I mean, within an hour, I'm searching everywhere. I even went to his Twitter page thinking, well, if he switched to the Greens, he probably made an announcement somewhere, right? No, it's just a little blurb, and then everybody had to figure it out. But of course, then he was on RBN yesterday. Do you think that he has a better chance of running inside the Green Party than he did with the Movement for a People's Party?
Yes and no.
Break it down.
Yes, because I think there's, once again, the ballot access thing, right? We've been talking about the ballot access. That issue with the ballot access is tough. Yep. I think right now the Green Party's probably got locked about 20 states, 21, 22
Yeah,
states,
I heard 20 like right now.
Right around there. I believe that Cornel West even kind of acknowledged that. And probably you can get another 20 states easy, but it's the last 10 states that are going to be really, really hard. The Green Party hasn't been able to accomplish that for quite some time. I believe, I don't know the last time they had everybody on the ballot and stuff like that.
I think they had 42 states in 2016 and 48 states in 2020, from what I understand. I could be wrong, but the numbers always change anyways. But you're right. It's not going to be full access. We've seen a lot of problems inside the Green Party. Howie Hawkins has kind of taken hold of that party, and it's turned into a pro-war, pro-big pharma party under Hawkins. Do you think that, with the kind of stranglehold of Cornel West and Shama Sawant and Ajamu Braku and Cornel West, can they capture the Green Party and take it back?
You know what? It's always been possible to do this. The Green Party does have a framework. That's why I'm saying if anybody who wanted to start a new party, I didn't think it was the wisest thing to do. I would have just done a coup myself and taken over the Green Party, right? And this is what essentially it's a coup of love from Cornel West coming over there.
Full
now.
Train.
From the phone calls I've made, the people I spoke to, and I speak to some great people within the Green Party, because the Green Party has a lot of great people in it, but it does have a lot of shit in it. Now,
has a lot of clickiness going on in it too, let me tell you.
A lot of bad policies, a lot of bad decisions. Steering committee years ago made some awful decisions, and Dr. Cornel West is going to have to answer the question about how the Black Caucus was shut out when it came to the COVID decisions. I stood with the leader of the Black Caucus, who was thrown out, and it was in D.C., at Defeat the Mandates, talking about this stuff. So there's part of the Green Party that's in there that has this same mindset that we do when it comes to not bowing down to Big Pharma and their COVID protocol. So we understand that. However, there is a big still apparatus of sorts, that Howie Hawkins entity. Now, Howie Hawkins had a lot of help when Kevin Zeese was around, and God rest his soul, I love Kevin Zeese. I'm very upset that he probably died mad at me, because when he had the interview with me and Nico, he felt like we sabotaged him and cornered him, because he was trying his best to defend Howie Hawkins. And I don't know why he made that decision to have Howie Hawkins there. I'm not going to speculate, him and Margaret Flowers. But, and I've never met Margaret or talked to Margaret, but Margaret's an amazing person from some of the stuff she said. I don't know why they made that decision, but Kevin is gone. And he was a very, very important, he was able to get a lot of, people behind him and behind Howie and stuff. That's not going to happen. And from what I'm hearing right now, people are defecting left and right from that Howie Hawkins apparatus, at least the mindset, the voters are. I don't know with inside the organization who's close to Howie and working for him are going to defect over to Cornel West. But this is bringing back that Jill Stein, that Jamu Baraka at part of the Green Party, which is probably the best part of the Green Party.
I think
However, I've reached out to Cynthia McKinney. I'm sure she'll get back to me.
Love me some
Cynthia McKinney come on and talk about what's going on with the Green Party. She ran as a president in the Green Party, so we're going to hear from her. We're going to get people back online like Justin Beth, who did such a great job. He was trying to be so neutral when he was part of the steering committee, and he had on Kevin Zeese, Ian Schlockman, and Nico House on a live stream. And this guy was trying so hard, Justin Beth. He's the one, along with Aaron Fox, that eventually got Jesse Ventura to come along. However, the Green Party wasn't ready to play ball. So, I mean, there's so many. I mean, when this stuff happened, Chanda, it was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. So now we had the RFK thing. Now here comes Cornel West. Now he's going to the Green Party. So you're going to see a lot of voices speaking positive and negative of the Green Party. They got a lot of weight, but if they can pull it off, I think if they can have a coup, it's going to be really hard. They got to get the shit out and the right people in. But Cornel West got his own problem right now. I don't care what you say. Chanda, you tell me right or wrong. We care a lot about Israel-Palestine. I know how you care about Israel-Palestine. I know how Fee feels about it. I know how about Misty feels about it. I know that's their red line, and I get that.
That is a red line,
right?
for sure.
I get that. But when it comes to American and American voters and American populace, COVID is held way higher in their issue.
Number one.
COVID is over here. Israel-Palestine, unfortunately, is down there.
Oh, yeah.
COVID is over here.
I got to say, COVID's pretty freaking high on my list of red lines.
Well, this guy, by far, is the best candidate when it comes to COVID protocols right now, and that's why he's going to be able to conjure up a lot of support.
Yeah.
People got to realize
you're right. You're right. And I vote as a voter. I ask myself, what's more important to me? Is it the things that RFK Jr. is saying, or is it the things that Cornell's saying? So do you think that we're going to see a coalition, a broad coalition come up under Cornell? Because this morning we have the Democratic Socialists for Cornel West out there. And then you have Ben Burgess of Jacobin out there telling people that Cornell should have challenged Biden in the Democratic primary. What a waste of fucking time that would be.
Okay. I said something yesterday. Was it yesterday? I don't think it was on my show. Who did I say it to? I said it. I can't remember what I said.
You
I'm
were
going
on
to
a lot
say
of
it again.
shows yesterday.
I'm going to say it again.
Heartlands yesterday, weren't you?
All right. Look. And what's up to everybody over there? Yona, Popeye, David Crow. We love you all. Yona, I got to meet him in person. He came right up to me.
Yona's great.
Me and Yona weren't on good terms. He came right up to me like a man, started speaking to me. And you know, that's the second time where the other person has come to me and buried their ego. Well, my ego is out there. And I always say, my ego is parked. It's about to be towed because I put it aside. But sometimes I don't. I'm only human. So big up to Yona to coming up to me and making that bond.
Too many
he got to play
egos,
a song
man.
After my video at Rebels for a Cause. He waited for 2 days to play that song. So big ups to Yona for doing that. And I think we all should kind of follow that. You know, the other person who did that to me when I was having a disagreement was Ty. And Ty came up to me and squashed everything. And I think as humans, we have to understand that. If we can put our ego aside and come together, if we can have conversations, because it's going to play into what we're going on in this whole campaign thing. But listen to this, Chanda, back to what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
People are talking about the unity ticket. And this is the same thing. They're like, oh, RFK is going to endorse Biden when he doesn't get the nomination. Well, first of all, this ain't a Bernie Sanders situation. I've been to plenty of RFK events. 90%, Chanda, in my mind, 90% of the RFK people, once he doesn't get the nomination, are not going to vote for Joe Biden. They're going to go vote for Trump. 90%
you're right.
of them. They are not. It was just like the Tulsi thing. Tulsi endorsed Biden. Yeah, but 75%, 80% of the Tulsi people were like, I ain't voting for Biden. Yeah, she told us that, but we already did that before with Bernie Sanders. Not again. See ya. I'm going to go vote.
Is Tulsi going to run? Right? I hear some rumblings. I actually have a video on the deck from Tulsi from yesterday.
Let me say this though, because I want to bounce this off you really quick before I forget and get lost in my mind over there. This beautiful mind of mine. RFK doesn't get the nomination. Cornel West in the Green Party goes, hey man, why don't you come over here and run with us? Like what Bernie could have done, right? When Jill Stein in 2016 said,
but Bobby will never do that. Bobby will never do that. He is a legacy Dem. That'll never happen.
We don't know, but wait. We don't know that because it's different times, legacy Dem or not. If he understands now that this Democratic Party can't be fixed, right? Why not say if Cornel goes, hey, Bobby, come be my vice, or vice versa, and we have this giant movement together
that would be
now.
Great. That would be great living in
fantasy
fantasy
land. That is the best scenario. People are not, listen, you got to put it up on the whiteboard. Put it up on the whiteboard.
Put it up on the whiteboard. I don't think that it's doable just because when you understand RFK Jr.'s history, I think he's a fucking sleeper, Pasta. I think the Dems have intentionally put him in there. They know Biden is a lost cause. They know that they can win over the Trump voters with the whole COVID angle. And I think he's a sleeper. I'm telling you.
There's no way
he's been having dinner
now,
with the heads
if
of the Democratic Party for
anybody-
30 years. There's
if
no way
anybody's done their
he's
homework,
opposition to that party.
if anybody's done their homework, they know that an RFK supporter is not voting for Biden.
Oh, absolutely. Just like when we said Bernie or bust, we tried to warn them in 2016 that we would not vote for anybody else inside the Democratic Party. And most of us went to Jill Stein. And that's why I will never believe that Jill Stein got less than 6% in 2016.
People
I don't
say-
believe that for a minute.
People say they can control RFK, but they had to kill his father and his uncle because they couldn't control him.
That's true. That is
So, you know,
that is true.
and listen here, at the end of the day, Chanda, what I'm excited about is the political education to a very politically ignorant country. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that politics is tied to social issues. Politics, you either do politics or politics do you, right?
Do
There you
you?
go,
Yeah.
Marianne Williamson. I'll give you a little credit for saying that. But
She wasn't the first one to say it.
I know, but
promise.
she said it recently. You know, I'm going to give her a little
But
credit
it's
there.
true, and I lived it. You know, yeah, I'd vote
You got to
every
do it,
4
right?
years.
You don't get involved,
right.
Chanda. If you don't get
Right.
involved with your
You don't have a
decisions,
say.
people make your decisions for you.
We
That's
don't
why
have a
this
say
whole
anyway, but-
election thing is let them steal it. You got to get out there. And when people go, oh, we have to need a movement outside of electoral politics. Well, where is it? Where is it, Chanda?
Well, and that's what okay, so this is what I'm saying.
I don't
okay,
see it. Hold on. Let me look at
we've got
it. Ain't
Shama
under the
Sawant.
desk. It ain't.
Listen, we got Shama Sawant, we got Cornel West, we got Chris Hedges, we got Ajama Baraku, we've got Jill Stein. These were the ones who pushed the movement of the 99 in 2016. I know I was on the ground with that movement multiple times in Philly, in Seattle, in Chicago. It's out there, and that is based in the workers. And I'm just, okay, so this is my thing. Fine, we'll do the Cornell thing. We'll push him through the Green Party. We know that when he gets in the general, he's not going to beat third party is not going to just come up and a tidal wave over the duopoly that has control of our election system. So, okay, we'll have a good run in the election and we'll get people fired up. But what the hell are they going to do with that energy after they lose in 2024? You know, with Bernie, it splintered off into a million pieces. So we lived it in real time. Some went to our revolution. Some went to, the Movement for a People's Party. Everybody was working. They didn't channel that energy. All of that Bernie energy just fizzled away. It got sucked dry money wise by, orgs like our revolution or whatnot. And now we're all splintered into a million pieces. I want to make sure that there's a plan after whatever November 4th of 2024 for that energy to be harnessed and moved outside of the political system. That's what I want.
Let me ask you a question. Name those
Okay.
people you talked about in the Green Party again. All those people.
What do you mean? Oh, okay. So we got Jill Stein, Ajama Abraku, Chris Hedges, which I don't know Chris Hedges' Green Party, but he's going to be working in there whether he likes it or not. Cornell. Who else did I say? Anyways,
Which one of
these
those
are
people-
the leaders. Shama, of course, is not Green
Okay.
Party, but Shama can command a stage like nobody I've ever seen, and she fires the workers up. So and she's got her own fucking party, socialist alt, that she can bring
Workers
along.
or not, which one of these people were there on the COVID protocols? Which one of these people spoke out?
None of them. Not a one of them. Not a one of them. Not even Shama, which broke my heart.
That's
man.
why RFK is
'Cause they're
is getting so
scared.
much attention. A lot of people are going to be one issue voters. They see what happened. They saw that this was a psyop. Wait. I'm sorry.
Well, close enough, right? Wasn't
I don't
a
want to get
psyop,
kicked
but-
off YouTube.
Yeah,
By the
be
way,
careful.
guys, share the link. I see a super ray in there. I see a super chat. Excuse me.
Share it out to the
Let's help
fams.
fam. Chanda
Let's help
is looking
fam.
too good today. She is bringing the fire.
Aw,
She's got the
thanks.
deck. She needs a couple bucks. Let's help her out. We got to help independent
Dude,
media until we can find more
I
money.
haven't even get paid from YouTube. I make so little. You know how you have to make so much? They just go, yeah, we'll pay you in a couple of months.
Yeah. You know, did you see
terrible.
my one tweet where I put up? So I was like, oh, so YouTube has changed their guidelines when it comes to elections. Well, maybe I can reapply for monetization. I reapplied in December. I go back,
Yeah.
it's still up there. We are reviewing your application. It usually takes a month. It's been 6 months,
6
you
months.
donkeys.
We'll just ignore you. That way we don't have to. I have the same problem over on Twitter, right? It's supposed to be the land of free speech over there. But that's funny. I get censored every Friday for saying the word uncensored. So, Pasta, I got to ask you about this. Biden tops Trump by 4 points in the new poll. This is a poll out yesterday. Do you think that is reality with what we saw
I heard
with Senator Chuck Grassley and Ted Cruz the last few days?
I heard that they were polling zombies and the zombies.
They're full of dead people that vote.
Dude, listen. All these polls they're showing are full of shit, guys. They don't talk about who they're asking, how they're asking the questions, because they ask the questions. First of all, it's who they poll. Number one is biased, so they know that. Number two, the way they ask the questions is kind of trickery to where they can get an answer and get the results they want. These polls already have an intended outcome before they're even given, okay? So that's that. We know that.
100%.
Second, when have you seen anybody show up for a Biden rally? He's not even going out there right now. They're not going to do rallies because they
81 million.
anybody.
81 million.
Trump goes to one place. Trump has motor cages. People waiting to watch his motor cages when he lands back in New Jersey from going to get indicted in Florida, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people out there. I mean, no, Biden. No, there's no way Biden is polling anywhere. Let me tell you something. If you had an honest poll, right, and those polls that they show Marianne Williamson, Biden,
6%. I'm not Biden.
Those are bullshit.
I'm really not.
And once people understand that RFK is running, they'll be like, the only people that will stick with Biden are the shit lips. That's it. The butt Trumpers, the managerial class of sorts.
So has RFK Jr. said that he will endorse Biden like a good Dim? Has he signed his pledge yet?
No. He doesn't have to sign that pledge because there's no debates. He said, I haven't had a plan B yet. He hasn't talked about what he's going to do. You don't know what
he needs to get on CNN and do a town hall like Trumper did. But, CNN.
They're not going to give him a town hall.
Well, I don't think they'll give Trump another town hall either. Jake Tapper and Rachel Maddow have had it with them covering Trump. I brought a little clip. We'll get to it. But I got to ask you about this from yesterday. Have you seen this clip of Ted Cruz asking the FBI director about Biden's lost tapes, bribery tapes? Yeah. This is good. And I hate Cruz, but it's still good.
Last month, a whistleblower brought to light the existence in the FBI of a report, an FD 1023, in which the informant alleges that President Biden and his family members engaged in a $5 million bribery scheme during his time as vice president. Deputy Director Abate, is it true that the FBI has a report making those allegations?
I'm not going to comment on that, Senator.
And why is that?
I'm just not going to comment on information we received, investigations.
Do you owe an obligation to the American people to be candid about evidence of corruption by the President of the United States?
This is an area that I'm not going to get into with you, Senator.
Well, I understand you don't want to, and that's why people are mad at the FBI, because you're stonewalling and covering up serious allegations of evidence of corruption from the president. Yesterday, Senator Chuck Grassley stood on the Senate floor and alleged that there are 17 recordings of this informant from Burisma, Ukrainian natural gas company. 15 of them are recordings, voice recordings of him talking to Hunter Biden. 2 of them are voice recordings of him talking to Joe Biden. Deputy Director Abate, does the FBI have 17 voice recordings laying out evidence of a bribery scheme?
Senator, I would add also that we've worked with the House Oversight Committee.
Yeah, this is the Senate. We're the other side of the Capitol. This is the Senate. Do you have those 17 recordings?
I'm not going to comment on any investigative matters, Senator.
See, that's the problem. The FBI, and I've had this conversation with Chris Wray too, this is why you are damaging the institution. The American people have a right to know whether there is serious, credible evidence that the President of the United States took a $5 million bribe. And by the way, if it's false, Chairman Durbin just rolled his eyes. If Chairman Durbin were interested in the rule of law, we would have a hearing on these allegations. But of course, the Democrats don't want a hearing on these allegations. And to be clear, if the allegations are false, you know who could disprove them? Joe Biden. He could call for this to be released publicly. But the FBI is stonewalling.
Go ahead, Pasta. Tell me what you think. What do you think of that?
You know, when I initially look at this stuff, I start to think to myself, is this just more of the let's kind of divide people into 2 camps? Let's keep the people split more than anything? Because a lot of it is true. A lot of this stuff we knew for quite some time.
Yep.
I mean, I think a reason why we were kind of hip to what was going on in Ukraine, Russia, me and Fee, when we started the Convo Couch, we were foreign policy junkies, and we were talking a lot before we even had one show on the Convo Couch of what was going on inside Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
So even though we know a lot of this information, what do we see on the other side? Oh, Trump's getting indicted for having classified information. So it just seems like they're furthermore trying to split the people and keep people in camps, and now it's just become this political volleyball back and forth. But, the fact that they're not even talking about what papers Trump had.
I know, right?
The actual substance in those papers, they're not even talking about it. Yeah. They're just throwing it out there. That bumper says, oh, he classified information. Well, he's the commander in chief.
So did Hillary.
He could declassify anything he wants, guys. Yeah. This case is mute. The Biden situation definitely seems to have more weight behind it. In other words, there's definite evidence that Biden is guilty of these charges, whatnot, of working with these foreign governments, manipulating waste, taking and carving out Ukraine and making sure he has 100% control in it. Because not only did they go in there and carpetbag everything and make a shit ton of money, they used Ukraine to threaten World War III. So there's much more significant than what's going on there. But the whole thing about it is Senator Cruz will sit over there and go, Biden this, Biden that, Biden this, Biden that. Inside his chamber, he's got people who went to Kiev. He's got Lindsey Graham who went there and stirred shit up with real McCain, not just eye patch McCain. The Republicans are just as guilty of this too as well, and that's the thing that he's not bringing to the American people. He's playing political volleyball with the situation rather than calling everybody out. And then Senator Cruz, he's got a lot of dirt on himself too as well. I bet.
Oh, I'm sure.
You start digging into Bolivia. I'd like to see what that guy, how he was involved over there, because we know Rubio was involved.
Yeah, the oligarchs don't put the oligarchs in jail. And if they do, it's because they're becoming a sacrificial lamb for them, aka Epstein. And this, this is what I keep telling people. And it's ironic that this stuff came out on the same day, right? But to be clear, us in independent media, we've been talking about the Burisma bribe for 2-3 fucking years. I know I was talking about Ukraine thanks to Oliver Stone in 2016 with Ukraine on Fire. We knew there was an oligarch and there was a coup that was going on there. That's always U.S. backed, right? Always. I don't care where you're at. If there's a regime change, it's because our CIA is in there doing it. Yeah, the 3-letter agencies, the FBI, they're as crooked and rotten as they come. We've known this for a long time. And I don't expect much. I brought this tweet from you, or you brought this tweet. Let's see what this is. When your party has abandoned the working class over 30 years ago and you virtue signal yourself out of relevancy, there's nothing else left to do but attack people with different ideologies. Great job, Nina. So Nina says, healthcare should be free. Libertarians say that's slavery. Do you support reparations? Libertarians, no. Libertarians also, minimum wage should be at 0. Pretzel logic. Yeah, why is she attacking the libs?
Because she's got nothing left to do, right? Because she's freaking virtue signaling herself out of relevancy. There's nothing. I mean, her party hasn't been with the working class in over 30 fucking years. Yeah. Since Carter. Yeah. They've been gone. That's longer than 30 years. It's almost like 50 years now, right? They've abandoned the working class for quite some time. She's got nothing to stand on. She ran as a Democrat. That was her choice, right? What's in that party? And then did she really try to reform that party? You know what I'm saying? She just tried to kind of tweak it a little bit.
But Jordan Charlton would say that's not her fault because she had mega money come up against her.
First of all, it's Ohio in a pretty decent area, right? Ohio. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of the area is pretty decent, whatnot. Do you know we've had election fuckery in Ohio since how long?
Oh, God, yeah.
John Kerry lost the election because of Ohio and diaballed at the time. And now that particular election was a completely Nina Turner's election. Nobody talks about it. It was mainly a mail-in ballot election. You're not going to win because they control the ballots, you asshole. I was there. I know this and that. And that logic too as well. Jordan Charlton talking about.
Did you watch that interview?
But why are you licking Putin's balls? Not just Jordan Charlton. A lot of people don't understand what happened Ukraine, Russia. They don't understand. They don't get the gist of it. They think that Putin could have not intervened and let all these Russian people be slaughtered. The Russian government would have fallen because they would have had a coup inside their own goddamn fucking government.
Yeah, you're letting our people
These people were complaining for years. Go in there and save these people. They're getting killed.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't even have a clue of what's really happening in Russia. And if you join me tomorrow, I'm going to do a 4-slide segment, and I have a 9-minute clip of just how Russians are actually winning the war. So join me for that tomorrow, because I go uncensored on Friday. So all the stuff I can't talk about on YouTube, I pile up on Friday.
They're also winning the financial war too, as well, ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen.
Fee's
For
proven that
Cornel
to
West
us
to
many
say-
times.
Yeah. Cornel West to say the other day, this is a country that's in bad economic shape, near
No, it ain't.
collapse. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
You have
You're-
no fucking clue
these
what
are
you're talking
CIA talking points, man.
Yep.
They tried. They thought that if they would do two things, they get him to force him in the war, they can demonize Putin and the government, and then eventually, bleed them out and take them over. Or the fact is that since they had gotten all these European countries to agree to sanctions if Russia went in, that's why they had to get Russia to go in. They had no choice. They put the gun to his head that the ruble would fall and it would crumble, but it didn't. You know why? Because it's basic fucking economics. United States dollar is backed behind nothing. A military might, a tank, a gun, a weapon. We go in and we take these countries' resources and we force them to use our monetary system. That's what's going on. The ruble in Russia is backed by oil, wheat, commodities. It's an actual fiscal fucking monetary system that's worth something, and that's why it didn't fall. And immediately they had other customers in China once they lost their customers in Europe. No harm, no foul. You got to understand what's going on, and I think that's what I'm saying. I don't know if Dr. Cornel West has a grasp of what's actually going on in Russia.
I don't think he does. I think he just takes whatever, the talking points for whatever mainstream media that he is watching. And I'm sorry, but he is of that age that still consumes the mainstream bullshit.
Yeah.
How many times Cornell used to be a regular on CNN? You remember back in the day when he was a regular on CNN?
Vaguely. I remember seeing him a lot on Bill Maher. Can I say
MSNBC. He was on there back in the 2016. Remember, he campaigned for Bernie? Go ahead.
Yeah. Listen, Cornel West is one of my favorite persons from the Bernie movement period.
Mm-hmm.
I love Cornel West and Bernie Sanders when I used to see them back in Bill Maher days. Now, Bernie has since fallen off a cliff. We understand that. But even still,
Bernie.
To me, at one time, Nina Turner was number 2. Cornel West was number 1. I was in the 2016 Democratic convention in California, right? And I went to this one area where Bernie Sanders was going to talk. I'd already met Tulsi. I already did an interview with her. But I was going to meet all these people. I was going to meet Nina Turner for the first time, Bernie Sanders for the first time. I'm in a room, and it's a veterans caucus of sorts, and they're having people talk against war. I can't even remember the dude's name who ran for president in 2016. The one guy from the East Coast, from Virginia, I believe his name is. He was even anti-war in some ways.
Larry Johnson, or was it?
The first, I can't remember his name. He got like no votes, but whatever. He was in the room. Bernie Sanders was set to speak. So here comes Bernie. He walks. I shake his hand. I'm up by the front. There's a bunch of people in the room, people on the sides. Cornel West comes moving through the crowd. Excuse me.
He's a slab brother. He just
beelines directly to me. We lock eyes.
Nice.
We hug and embrace.
Aw.
First time ever meeting, we hug and embrace. And I'm like, what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. And I'm like, Dr. West, I'd love to talk to you more. You've been such an inspiration, because this is the thing that Dr. West did for me. Dr. West was one of the few leftist Democrats or leftist supporters or progressives that say, hey, don't demonize those people. Go talk to them.
Yeah.
It's okay to go talk to them. I think it was 2018, the convention. I'm getting my dates mixed up.
Yeah, but that's why it's so important, Pasta, that we do talk to him, because so many of us have such a great respect for him, and we know that he comes from a place of love, and he doesn't just make it about, a people of color message, or it's all inclusive, the working, the poor, the poor coming together. And I love that about him, but we've got to have him hear us. Bernie refused to meet with or listen to his own fucking movement.
Yeah.
We would tell him constantly, Bernie, that's bad. You can't be that way on that position. And he would give us the finger, and I'll do what I want. I know better than you.
Yeah.
I don't want Cornel to have that I know better than you attitude that we dealt with Bernie. And I have hope that it'll be that way. He's agreed to come on RBN every 2 or 3 weeks to catch up. And, as long as we can keep pulling him on to independent media and hitting him with these topics, I'm hoping we can pull him,
Well, you know me, Chanda, RFK's campaign learned the hard way. Not the hard way, but I'll show up with a microphone.
I know. I'm so proud of you every time I used to watch that video.
Cornel West, I will show up with a microphone and a camera and stuff like that. But
Good.
here's my issue with Cornel
him
West right
accountable.
now. I don't think in some cases he's properly identified and understands the problem. And if you don't properly identify and understand the problem, you can't find the right solution. And that comes with Russia. That comes with the COVID. That comes with, I don't know. And this is the thing. I think that Cornel West will be moved. He'll listen to people. And I hope he listens to me when I talk to him about Trumpers out of the gate tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, I don't think you're getting a lot of people away from Trump anyways, but let's not demonize them. And let's not manufacture consent for our bad mistakes of supporting Biden over Trump by using that same language that Biden is only a neoliberal catastrophe. He is a neoliberal fascist warmongering pig. Disgusting.
Right.
Should be in jail. Victoria Nuland should be behind bars. Fauci locked up for life. And he needs to understand these things because we're cool with the love, but to get justice, there needs to be accountability.
Yes. Yes. No, you're absolutely right. And we have to make him understand that. I'm so excited that he's coming on. I will be sending you a list of questions later today that I want you to pose to him. Let's see. You
Please.
brought a tweet from Free Palestine, hashtag BDS.
Well, there's a video. Nico House put this video out there. Oh, no. Wait, okay.
Is that it?
So this was supposed to be under your thing where you had the poll, right? So you had the poll.
It is under the poll. Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this is the guy who's polling at 70%. Go ahead.
Oh, God. He looks like he's taken a ton of fentanyl. Look at his eyebrows. I haven't even hit play and I haven't even seen this, but looking at him.
Too much adrenochrome.
Yeah. Oh, fucking adrenochrome, man. Thank you, Oz, for formatting this for me. I appreciate it.
Well, we're going to win and we're going to help. We have plans to build a railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean. We have plans to build in Angola, one of the largest solar plants in the world. I can go on, but I'm not. I'm going off script. I'm going to get in trouble.
Who is he going to get in trouble with? He's the leader of the free fucking world.
He's going to get in trouble because you're talking about building a railroad across the freaking Indian Ocean.
Oh, God.
Chanda, you know railroads can be built on the ocean now?
Yeah. You didn't know that? They can float them. Haven't you seen that video of the bridge in China that floats and you can drive on it and it literally crazy. That's a crazy fucking bridge.
But he just misspoke, but that's the 81 million votes and this guy's polling at 70%. Give me a break. They're just trying to manufacture consent for a fucking steal of the election again. He is their ultimate puppet. He just goes in there and just nods his head and he does what he's told to do. It's in your face, disgusting, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm almost thinking that the only way we do get out of this is eventually towards the end of this campaign, there is some type of, cohesion, some type of collaboration between the People's Party, excuse me, the Green Party with Cornel West, if they can grasp it and take it over, and an RFK. It's like the only way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the whole thing is that I think that RFK has a lot of conservative people. RFK took from Trump's base. Cornel West took from Biden's base.
Right.
That's what people got to understand. Like, the Democratic Party just wants to make sure that RFK gets no momentum whatsoever, so they got to deal with RFK. But he's not taken from their base.
No,
he's not. He's taken from Trump's base. So in a kind of a way, I think they want him to keep him in the shadows and let him continue to take from Trump's base. There are Trump people who are pissed off at Donald Trump that still has not come to fruition and said, I'm sorry about this Operation Warp Speed and shit. And I'm sorry.
If he would just own it, if he would just own it and say, those motherfuckers duped me. They got me conned into it. I fell for it because I was scared for you guys. We have a pandemic coming. I'm told it's bad. And I'm trying to make sure that I keep my countrymen alive because that's my job as the, leader of the free world. So I fell for it, guys. I'm sorry. That's all he has to do. But Trump will never do that. We got a super chat here that ironically I paid for. I see.
By the way, I was just saying this really quickly, Chanda.
What did I pay for?
Chanda, I was just going to say that those people who are pissed at Trump for that, they go to RFK. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But they would go back to Trump if he would just own it.
Absolutely. Once RFK gets the boot, they're going right back to Trump because they're like, I'm not, at least he wasn't going to mandate me. And they'll say.
Yeah, exactly. So this comes from Beauty and the Boomer. Pasta, is that Brillo cream you're using these days? Must be the slick back. Thanks, Oz. Yeah, I got a receipt saying here's the receipt for your super chat. And I was like, I didn't do a super chat.
Don't Don't thank him as he's making fun of me, Chanda.
That I paid for too. That's hilarious.
He
Okay.
paid you with my own money, right?
Yeah, he paid me with my own money. That's funny. I'll get it back. We'll give YouTube some of it. I want to ask you about this because everybody knows you were the Tulsi guy for a long time. So this is a small clip from Tulsi from yesterday. The Democratic Party rejects the truth.
The byproduct, unfortunately, of today's Democratic Party's blind pursuit of power and their rejection of this truth, that we are all God's children, is that they reduce each of us to the color of our skin, or our gender, or our sex, and they're using identity politics to tear us apart, fomenting anti-white racism and fanning the flames of divisiveness just so they can score a few political points. What's so disturbing about all of this is not something they're trying to hide. They're proud of it. They celebrate it. They promote it at every opportunity, even though what they are actually doing is betraying the dream of Martin Luther King Jr. Their actions betray his wish that we would be judged not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. They have become, in doing so, the racists that they claim to hate. You heard from Riley Gaines earlier. What an incredibly brave and courageous woman who embodies the consequence of what happens when the Democrats reject the existence of objective truth. They reject the truth that we as women exist, and even as they continue to claim that they are the ones who are champions for women. They are the ones, not my predecessor, but the woman who held the seat that I served in Congress. She was one of the leading advocates for the passage of Title IX over 50 years ago. And you look at what they're doing now, spitting in the face of every woman and girl who has benefited from the passage of Title IX by saying that actually women don't exist, that we're just a construct of someone's mind, that anybody at any time can say, well, you know what, I'm a woman too. There's literally no greater expression of hatred and hostility towards women than to erase us as an entire category of people.
Okay, so that's a topic most progressives won't touch with the 10-foot pole. And not that I think Tulsi is a progressive. She's getting down in the muck with identity politics, but I'm glad she fucking said it. As a woman, I'm tired of being fucking canceled. You don't exist anymore.
Well, we're equal now.
Is she going to run? Is she going to run for president? And
No.
if she does, who is she gonna
The
run with?
rumor is she's RFK's choice to be the vice. That's the rumor.
Ooh,
Yeah. The rumor is
ooh.
that Carrie Lake goes with Trump.
But with that rhetoric, can she come into the Democratic Party and run as his vice? I mean,
Yes, she can.
they're going to tear her
Yes,
apart.
she
You
can.
know the
Yeah, but
Dems live to tear Tulsi
They,
apart.
they will tear her apart, right? But there's still listen. You know that 1/3 of Democrats want Fauci indicted and arrested and tried. 1/3. You know what I'm saying? 85% of Republicans want Fauci tried. 60% of independents want him tried. So there is a small yearning base there within the Democratic Party that refuse to do what RFK. They also going along with RFK. I refuse to leave the Democratic Party. Tulsi, she refused to leave it for quite some time, and then she finally left it, right?
Yes.
But there's a small group of leftists or Democrats that refuse to leave, like we did, that are saying, no. We're not playing these games anymore. This is bullshit. They want to. I think they are more concerned when it comes to the trans issue with the indoctrination and the programming of children in schools more than can an adult trans person use which bathroom, can a transition person compete in women's sports. Those issues are strong there. But when it comes to that conservative base, they're more interested in what happens in the schools. That's what's about. And we do have to find a way. And this is another area where Dr. Cornel West is going to lose a lot of people because he says trans people are under attack like ever before. But what Tulsi said there, a lot of people agree with them. You're going to erase us as women. All the women's spaces that were created for their protection.
Yeah. But
Now
not
we're just gonna
anymore.
remove
But
that?
not anymore. Those
gonna
are all
remove that?
removed now. Yeah, right. It's sad to me as a woman because we fought so hard. And in my lifetime, I have reaped the benefits of my grandmothers and my mothers fighting for us. And in my lifetime, it's gone. It's gone that quickly. Being called a birther person and, this shit. No, I'm a fucking life giver. When you can push a fucking human being through your fucking legs, I don't want to be, I don't want to be cast aside. I embrace womanhood, and I have never been anti-trans. I have never been against the LGBT movement. Quite the fucking opposite. I have fought my whole entire life for them to be recognized and to be equal, and to have the same rights that any of us have. But is that taking other people's rights away? Is that giving them rights? No, that's just taking rights away. That's not actually adding rights. We got a Super Ray over on the Rokfin.
Let's address it, Chanda. I'm
Go ahead.
ready. Let's go.
You go ahead. You read it. Because I
All
want to
right.
hear you. You're better on this one anyways.
Gregory Walker, my good friend. Shandog. He's calling you the Shandog.
He always calls me Shandog. I'm good.
I love that. You are the Shandog. Pasta, question mark. What about our bullshit pantomime election? Do you guys think West can win in this rigged system? I think we should start parallel voting structures with paper ballots and public counting. That's a great idea, right? But here's the thing. I know it's a bullshit system, but you have to define what winning is. If you think that I'm going into the situation where winning the White House is really a possibility with a rigged system, you're wrong. That's not what winning looks like to me. The movement, the discussions, the education, the political discourse, raising us up to get us on the same page is what is most important now. Most important right now. Getting everybody on the same page. Understanding, number one, there's the ruling class and there's us. Now, we got to be careful with these trap doors. Is RFK a trap door? Who knows? We have to see. But the words that are coming out of his mouth right now, addressing the CIA, addressing these captured agencies, which is really at the heart of things. These captured agencies is what's running this country. These captured agencies are dictating foreign policy, domestic policy. That's what we need to focus on. We need to understand it because that's the true fascism we have here. So I define winning, Greg, is getting the political discourse out there, having the conversations we would not have. Could you imagine, Chanda, if Kamala Harris was controlling the political discourse?
She'd just be giggling her ass off. Well, in a way, she kind of is. So my question is, and he says, building parallel voting structures with paper ballots and public counting. Now, I'm a trained vote observer. I don't know how that would work, how we would manage to get that passed on the local levels, because the Democrats in every county that I have been in have a stranglehold on those systems, Pasta. And I mean, it seems simple, right? Let's just cast your ballot and paper ballot and we count.
Here's what they've already planted, right? They planted the thing is like, listen, it's part of cancel culture. We just won't participate. Oh, they're going to have their own parallel voting system? Don't participate. They use this tactic overseas, Greg. They tell people not to vote. They said people didn't participate in that because they knew the elections were fake. That's why they didn't go out and vote against Lukashenko. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't participate. They actually tell people in Syria not to go vote. Don't participate. In Venezuela is where they told people, oh, it's a rigged system. Don't even participate. So by saying that these parallel election systems you have, these are the results, they're like, no, we didn't participate. They're not the real results. That's what they're going to do. And they'll use their media apparatus to make sure that other people don't participate. So they'll say that the results are fraudulent because they're like, we're not gonna participate in a pantomime parallel voting system. We're going to participate in our own pantomime system.
Well, what about implementing things like ranked choice voting? We're seeing some places pop up with ranked choice voting. Doesn't matter.
Listen, love it. That's ranked choice voting is after we have a legit, transparent mechanism, right? We can't put the cart before the horse.
Before we can exactly. And that's always brings me back to what the hell are we going to do with this energy once they get it all consolidated under, say, Cornell or under RFK Jr. What are they going to do with it? And how do we transfer it from a politically driven to actual helping people? I mean, what does that look like? Is it funneling it into mutual aid? Is it funneling it into general strikes and wildcat strikes? What is going to fucking push for real actual change? Because we can't do it at the ballot box, Pasta. We've tried for fucking 8 years now.
Well, I think we can demonstrate the independent media, the job we've been doing, when we can move some people. That RFK tweet got over 1 million views and impressions, right?
Right.
So we can move people. We can get eyeballs there. More than anything, there needs to be a unification of sorts between these two parties as we come. And that's going to be really hard, right? Like, because you see a lot of the people, you talk about Medea Benjamin. Now, Chris Hedges bit the bullet, got on stage at Rage. Very important.
That is
People are
important.
thinking that, oh, you just wanted people to participate because you were part of this. Like, no, this is showing that we could build this coalition between different party lines. And that's the thing, too, as well. What does the Libertarian Party do when they have a chance coming through? We need to build a huge coalition. So if Cornell can somehow silence the voices that said, I'm not going to speak at Rage, like Medea Benjamin, but went and spoke at the Answer Coalition one,
Right.
who's terrible on Russia, terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just awful. She's been bad on Syria. She's been bad on Nicaragua. I mean, the girl has a track. So if he can find out a way to silence these voices, then we can really get our butts in the streets. The last time the ruling class was scared, in my eyes, was the Iraq War. When they seen close to millions of people, and I think in that first Iraq one was like 1 million people, close to it, in those streets, they got scared. Somehow the ruling class was able to shift it to, not this is America's war, this is Bush's war. And we went
Freedom
back
fries.
into that,
Freedom fries, right?
Yeah, freedom fries. We went right back into that two-party parallel system where it was just get these Republicans out. It doesn't make a difference what Democrats you put in there. Just get Bush out. That's what we need to do. They're doing the same thing again. That's what they'll always do. But if they can find a way to get a coalition, and this is far out right now, and this needs to happen, then we can maybe do something. We do need to get the butts in the streets, but we got to get on the same page.
Yeah, there's so many of us
page.
not on the same page that used to be on the same page. It's been sad to just kind of lose so many people over the last 8 years that were all on the same page at one fucking time, right? But okay, so we saw Gary Johnson get probably 10% higher in 2016, the Libertarian Party, than the Green Party. How does Cornell take some of that libertarian energy and put it into the Green Party? I heard yesterday that Yomi Parks, of course, the North Korean defector, is seeking the presidential nominee for the Libertarian Party. So is that possible? No, that's her. Have you ever seen Yomi? Yomi? She's beautiful.
Listen,
she's beautiful. But anyway,
it's gonna be 3 people who are gonna be possibilities of being the president representative for the Libertarian Party. Number 1, Dave Smith. He's still at the top of that thing. A lot of people like him. He's got a populist mind. He had an amazing interview when it came to RFK, and that's the thing. He's talking to RFK. They're talking about that Ron Paul RFK, combination coming together. And I wish RFK would have come out and spoke at the Rage Against the War Machine. I don't even know if they reached out to him, but he's talking about that. The whole thing with Nina, right? The second choice. Judge the top, I can't even say his name is in Italian, Napolitano, right? Judge Napolitano. He's the second choice. He'll be the number 2 choice. So it's going to be one of those 2 guys. And the third choice, I'm not saying because I'm not allowed to say, but I know who the third choice is. So I'm keeping my lips sealed on it. Y'all can email me. Maybe I'm not going to tell you, but I know who it is. So I'm not going to tell you. But it's gonna be
there's
one of
people
those 2
guessing
guys,
in the chat,
right?
for sure.
The Mises Caucus now controls the Libertarian Party. The Mises Caucus has their people. They're those Ron Paul Jesuits right there too as well. What Nina Turner did, to me, seems like a psyop, right? Because I think she's already at behest of the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, or the elites, or the oligarchs. I don't know who's doing it. She's trying to nudge Cornel West to be anti-libertarian. Cornel West has already said in several things. If Cornel West, he goes, this is where I agree with my libertarian brothers and sisters. I like my libertarian brothers and sisters. Cornel West has already kind of extended that olive branch.
Yeah, he did say that a couple
Cornel West
times.
fashion of talking to libertarians, right?
Yeah.
So here comes the establishment. We got to get them off this. We got to get them to hate. We got to do what we did at Rage Against the War Machine, which was instead of the Answer Coalition joining that thing, we got to make sure they're going to put a line in the sand that these people are racist. We can't work with them. What Chuck Modi said on my show, which is coming right from the CIA director's mouth.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with people to stop a war, and then after we're done, they want to hurt me. What the fuck does that even mean?
Fuck does that even
mean? Mean? That's just a way of separating people. This is the coalition that needs to happen. And there's a lot of olive branches out there right now.
There is.
I did Jimmy Dore, Smith, Jimmy Dore 24 twice. where I don't know where Jimmy ends up in this whole thing, who he ends up supporting, but there'll be olive branches. There's areas there. Caleb Maupin did the show with Spike Cohen and Dave Smith. There are olive branches there. There are bridges we build. And that's the thing. Everybody hates on Nick Brana. Nick Brana.
I don't.
Listen, I don't got my Nick Brana t-shirt. I was never part of MPP.
I had one.
Right?
I'll have to admit. I was the state lead for Washington State, so of course. But I don't talk shit about Nick because I don't know the ins and outs behind a lot of shit. So it's speculation, like it always is.
So, by the way, just want to say, whether you like him or not, and there's a lot of reasons to question him, right?
There is.
I ain't gonna
do
even.
that.
But he worked with Angela McCardle, chair of the Libertarian Party, to get that thing up there. That was important because that is a bridge. We need to start building these bridges. We need to get people on the same page. And with people who are saying, I'm not working with them, they're racist. That's going to be the death of us. That's going to be the demise.
They're racist.
They're anti-trans. That's going to be the death of us. That's going to be the demise. Right?
I agree.
What about the existential threat? Yeah, I care about all these things, but can we care about these things if there's World War III, Shanda? No.
Absolutely not. And that's what it comes down to. None of this identity politics, conquer and divide bullshit is going to, even affect us if we're all dealing with, nuclear winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way I see it. So you stopped by as the Burmese Brigade yesterday. You were on Red Voice Media, or was that the day before?
A couple days ago.
It is not behind a paywall, but I did bring a little clip. You guys can go over and watch it. Of course, Jason Burmis. Is this the second hour? I think this is his second hour, right? I listen to Burmis every morning. I have been a huge Burmis fan for a long fucking time.
Love that guy.
The We Are Change days with Luke Wadowski. I still enjoy Luke's work too. And I enjoy what he does. You were also on Heartland's Media yesterday morning, weren't you? I think you hung out with
around.
you're getting around.
I'm a player. I get around.
Yeah, you are a player. We know.
No,
Okay,
that's not true. Yes,
that is true. We all know it. Okay, here we go. You and Burmis.
But it also gave me an on-the-ground look at a lot of the hopium. And I had seen that in December. And unless you kind of experience it yourself, you only have what the mainstream media has to go on and the alternative media has to go on and what they're telling you, right? When you experience somebody telling you that Julian Assange is fine and he's in Guantanamo Bay and all of that's a farce and he's going to be let loose and don't worry, Donald Trump is still in control, you've got to take that person aside and say, hey, that's not reality. We're in a bad spot right now. You can't be championing Guantanamo Bay or think that they took out McCain as treasonous. We have to get into a base reality because from that hopium, the next round of hopium was a March date where something magical was going to happen and somehow Donald Trump was going to become the president again. What is your experience like in that? Because again, you came at it from a very similar angle, wanted to report on it, but you're surrounded by these people. And a lot of people since have come around, like I've done SGT report, and Sean has said, I'm done with the Q stuff. I'm done with the hopium. I'm starting to get more of a base in what's actually going on so we can combat this stuff. And I would argue, like you said my people, but a lot of those people that showed up in Tennessee to watch these people speak, I think they're people that came along from kind of that Trump ride into more of a realization we've got even bigger problems.
Yeah, and that is such a great point to make, right? Because I still think it's important. And this is something that I tell to my leftist friends, right? My based leftists, my common sense leftists. As so I was introduced at the Defeat the Mandates when I got to D.C. for the first time, is that, that being said, we can't demonize these people. We can't shut them out. So no matter what they're thinking, and some people still have a little of that Q hangover, right? We still just got to go out there and talk to them like normal people so we can get across. It's like you said, you brought them over. Hey, man, that's not reality. Like, there are still a bunch of people, and the people at this event who talked a lot about elections. First of all, the two things that we saw a lot of that, in this particular event is we had many people talk from the right talking about elections. I was from the left, but I didn't talk about elections. I talked about lifting sanctions on Cuba, and despite them being communist, that shouldn't make us want to punish the people themselves. because only the people pay the price when it comes to sanctions, not those government officials. And also because they have a new government, and then this might be, I see opportunity, but who am I to say anything? And I've gotten bastardized and belittled for the left for saying those things. How can you be a white guy and say those things about Cuba? You know, and a lot of the people on the left, they are so attached to the ideology, the ism, rather than what the people are experiencing. But those people on the right, for some reason, they find a way. I think a lot of this Q stuff and a lot of the other conspiracy theories, like a lot of these people from the right saying that China is pulling the strings on the elections.
So that was you guys talking to the right and trying to bring people over, right? You know, Burmis has always been pretty in your face about, hey, you guys don't be buying the hopium and the QAnon bullshit, because his channel is now called Red Voice Media. He does broadcast more to the red side of it. But, you know, in our attempts over the last few years, we've reached out and we've built these relationships with people like Burmis, and to try to have the conversations. What was it like there on the ground? Did you feel isolated, alone, or did you feel like you were being embraced and it was more of a populist message than it was a right or left message?
About Rebels for a Cause, the event that you were kind of referring to. Yeah,
we haven't had a chance to talk about it since you got back.
Well, Rebels for the Cause was the event I went to. It was
Right.
thrown by Courtney Turner and her fiance, Houston, who's awesome. Just great people. And it's funny because I met them on Mother's Day because she was out here with her mom. So I made a joke. What do you get with a truther, a common sense leftist, and a freedom fighter from the right walk into a bar? You get good conversation, right? Like we sat down, we had drinks. And listen, even at the Kerry Lake event the other day, she said so many great things in her speech, but towards the end, she pivots to it's China, you know, and they're doing these things, and it drives you crazy,
the
right?
other day, like, fuck, Kyle Rittenhouse, like, you were doing great till you brought Kyle in as the goddamn savior.
It's one of those things. It really kind of gets you a little bit down. And listen, I had a lot of conversations at the Rebel for a Cause event with people about migration and what is the cause for migration. Still, the people on the populist right do not want to admit that it's our foreign policy.
Right.
That's why I went the Cuba route to say, listen, what we do is we start. It's our first action, and it causes chain reactions around. But it's hard when you hear these things too, and and even the Q leftoverness is inside the populist right movement. A lot of the people in the populist right still believe that China is pulling the strings, and they'll manufacture a consent for an event, a war against China. And they also think that communism is the big bad devil under the bed, right?
Yeah, you're a crazy communist.
It's not about the ism, it's about all these people controlling these isms, which they are even a little bit more hip to than people on the left. So it is going to be a struggle no matter what when we have these kind of people with these kind of ideologies that are stuck in their brain to get it across. But we got to find a way to not demonize them and talk down to them to do so. That's why I see a big problem with Dr. Cornel West's language of, Trump's a neo-fascist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he needs to drop that talking point for sure, which is hard because I think that has been a muscle memory response for him since 2016, because I remember hearing him say that the whole time that Trump was running. So since we're touching on Cuba, before I let you out of here for the day, I want to talk about Cuba. Of course, U.S. imperialistic gangsterism and Cuba. National Week on Cuba 2020 fall meeting. Cuba ambassador to the United Nations, Yuri Gala Lopez, explains how state sponsor of terrorism designation intensifies with the U.S. blockade. Now, you do so much work down there. Come on, shut that off. Are we? Tell me about it. Are we having these conversations when you're in the room? Are you? And I know you are because I see the video. But how are they receiving it? How are they receiving you pushing back on, hey guys, blockades and the sanctions is just hurting the people of Cuba. It's not actually doing any good.
Like I said, the reason why I made that baseball video is because I wanted to find a way for just people to put their fists down, right? Jonah was giving me props about it in the chat, and he got to see it played live and whatnot. Went out on the live stream and stuff. I still think people still have an issue with the communism thing, but if we can find a way to disarm them and just say, hey, we're humans, and that's why I made that video.
Yeah. No, it's great. I've got it. I brought it. Let me pull it up so everybody knows what we're talking about. Okay, if you guys have not seen this, Pasta made this video last time he was in Cuba. You've been passing out baseballs and baseball equipment, right? Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, get back here. Where'd you go? Just like, nope. What is going on here?
When I made it looks like just a picture. When I made
Okay,
the
hold
video,
on. I'll
Yeah.
pull it up and see if I can get it in there. Maybe I didn't bring it in. Okay, go ahead, and I'll fix it.
when I made the video, okay, I'm really getting an attempt. How do I get people to just put their fist down? I was thinking about the Midwest mother who hates communists, but has a son that plays baseball. I was thinking about that same mother or same father in Florida that hates communism but has a son that plays baseball. So I'm just trying to find a way to get people to put aside all the isms and just look at the human element, right?
Right.
Whether they're communist or not, why do they deserve to be sanctioned? Why do they deserve to be punished? Why do they deserve to be sweat out? Well, and this is something that Donald Trump failed miserably on. And I would say that to him as well, because a week left of his presidency, he slapped Cuba with very hard sanctions and also labeled them a state sponsor of terrorism.
Almost vindictively mean. I'm leaving and fuck it. Yeah.
What you're doing is you're making, and that's when Burma's went like this. You're making the people suffer. The idea is they get the people to starve and suffer so much that they turn against their own government. Well, that is some really raw gangster stuff.
It's totally gangster. And that's exactly what we want to see happen in Russia. Okay, I ran over to your Twitter feed and got it real fast. So here is the video.
Whether we want to admit it or not, the ruling class across the globe has the people divided. Especially in the case of the U.S. versus Cuba. What can unite us rather than divide us? I believe that answer is baseball. I believe that baseball can build bridges because it humanizes us and allows us to put aside those isms in which the ruling class are using to divide us. Some people claim capitalism, and some people claim communism. Now imagine you're a young baseball player in Cuba. You don't have decent equipment. There's a shortage of bats, of balls, of mitts, all due to an economic blockade that you had nothing to do with. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going? Easy answer. Your peers, your family, and your coaches. On my last trip to Cuba, I was miraculously able to connect with a Little League group completely by luck. This is Rosendo Ruenes. He was a good baseball player himself at a young age and has been coaching for over 20 years now. Along with his team of coaches, he not only prepares his athletes for the games on the field, but for the game of life as well. All his players need to maintain their grades to take the field on game day. I donated some baseball equipment that I brought from the States to the kids of Havana. Here are some of those players. So can baseball really be a bridge to connecting humans with different ideologies? I certainly believe it can. And if you're an American citizen who has a kid who plays Little League, if your kid was from Cuba, is it fair that he should be put in the middle of a 60-year-old conflict? Should he be trapped between any government on either side of the conflict? The answer is simple. The answer is no. So isn't it time we push the U.S. government to end its brutal blockade and sanctions against the people of Cuba? I say we do so, and we use baseball as a bridge.
Pasta, you're gonna make me cry. Make me cry. Oh my God, how heartbreaking. My granddaughter's playing softball right now, and I couldn't imagine those kids not having gear out there. And that right there hits me in the gut when I think of my kids not being able to play. It's so terrible.
The hope is that those mothers and fathers that I talked about. Sorry.
No, it's you've got me teared up. It's tough. This is the result of sanctions. This is who sanctions hurt, and this is exactly who they want sanctions to hurt.
I said that in my article that I never released that I'm working on, and I'm having some people restructure it so I can get it done properly. And I had some people write it. I said 90% of the problems in Cuba come from the United States. And I talked about some 10% of the problems I thought that the Cuban government was guilty of, and they could have done a little bit different, especially when it came to COVID. Shutting down the island, I thought, was the worst thing they can do for like 9 months when they desperately and mostly depend on tourism as their funding. You know what I'm saying? In Nicaragua, Daniel Ortega said, listen, Nicaraguans got to eat, no lockdown.
Yeah.
We go to
Yeah.
work. And that
Yeah.
that was the attitude I thought the Cuban government should have taken, because they put themselves in a bad position, you know? And, you know, when I've talked to a lot of young people in Cuba, they were like, you know, 23, 30-year-old people, right? 20-year-old people, 30-year-old people, 40-year-old people. Because you know me, I go talk to everybody from cab drivers to waiters
Yeah,
and the whole
I
nine
do
yards.
too. When you're on the ground, you're talking to everybody.
Everybody. You know, I'm talking to everybody, even if they don't even, I always got somebody translate with me, or I use I don't give a shit, but you know.
Right.
But they say, some of them, they don't care about the revolution. Like, we don't, it's 60 fucking years ago.
They don't remember it. It's like,
they don't know
yeah.
it. They want to eat.
Yeah.
They want to have some ownership in their jobs, and they want to own some of the businesses. Now, what people aren't talking about enough, I think, and this is something, and I follow Diaz-Canal's Twitter. You know, he's very, very pro-revolution, but I think they need to take advantage of the point that they are now transitioning out of their old style, you know, Soviet Union government, where
Right.
222 sectors of the economy is privately owned, which is nothing. They're going to transition into that Chinese model, that Vietnamese model, that market
The
socialism.
future model that everybody loves.
Free
like,
market
you know.
socialism, where you have an entity of capitalism and people can own their own businesses and, you know, those sort of things. And then the government, the state, will control certain aspects of your country, your energy resources, your infrastructure, your healthcare, your schooling, all that stuff.
Schooling, yeah.
That's what they're transitioning to. They're not taking advantage of talking about that enough. You know what I'm saying? And they're also now Diaz-Canal, and I know he's tried, but if I were him, I would say, listen, I wrote to the State Department of the United States again. I wrote to the United States. I would say, like, try like the Dickens. You're going to get it smashed in your face, but if you point out the fact that he's a new leader, he's not Fidel Castro. He didn't put the missiles on the island there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He didn't
This is a
start
way,
things,
and
but
you know
he
who's
didn't
going to
start
really
fire.
lose out on this whole situation as they are moving
The
towards
people.
BRICS? The Cuban people in the United States, the sons and daughters that were born here of the Cuban immigrant that had to leave. We had to escape communism. No, you didn't have to escape communism. You picked a side in the revolution.
Yeah.
And you're here. But who cares? Their children shouldn't have to pay and suffer that. If Cuba's going to open up their economy to the private sector, and when it comes to other entities, why shouldn't the kids here in Cuba be a part of that? That's what this government is doing right now, because they want their corporate entities want that real estate back. It's that global fascism. So, you know, even though I said 10% of the problems are there, 90% of the problems in the United States, you cannot access your bank accounts. You cannot access money. They are cutting them off. Anybody who does business with Cuba gets punished for doing so. They have an oil problem right now. Cars around the blocks. There's garbage on the streets because now they don't have the petroleum to do regular garbage pickups. You know what I'm saying? So this video was made to say, hey, listen, let's put aside all the bullshit. Just look at that. These people are, and I talked to the mothers and the daughters of these people who are sitting in the stands. You know, I had a translator with me. You know what I'm saying? They're normal people. Let's just put down our fist. Why should these people suffering? My whole life existence is to fight unnecessary suffering, whether it be at home or abroad. This is unnecessary. But it's going to take a lot of people in the United States, those conservatives, to understand what's going on, that it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah. No, you're right. Just a
Sorry for
reminder.
crying.
No, but there's no crying in baseball. Right? Chris,
you got me, Chris.
Chris, you nailed it. There is no crying in baseball.
It just sucks when you go see people suffering unnecessarily. And
when you just want to give the kids every opportunity to, you know, and look at how many great Cuban baseball players there has been, you know. So very good work, Pasta. You break my heart with it. You got anything else you want to bring today, or should we get ready to close this up?
I think an hour and 30 minutes is a perfect show. 90 minutes with Chanda.
90 minutes is a good
Don't
show.
get me wrong. I can take a lot more Chanda if I needed to, but
you think you could go 2 hours? Yeah.
I can go if I had to.
I don't know
but
about that.
I'm going to go working on that. It's Thursday today, so tomorrow's that interview. I'm going to go work on that interview.
Good.
Because
I'm going to send you some questions because I seriously have questions
Yeah.
for Cornell.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if I'm going to get to all of them tomorrow. In fact, it's like I'm looking at my list. These my list of sections and questions. You know what I'm saying? Relationships. We're talking about with the Trumpers. Relationships with Putin.
Yes.
You know, Dr. Cornel West also uses that language. He's a thug. He's a gangster. How are you going to sit down and denuclearize with somebody you're calling a thug and a gangster?
A thug,
and both and Bobby too, RFK too. What the hell is wrong with you people?
You don't, if you, yeah, I mean, I don't remember who was saying this the other day. I was listening to somebody, but, you know, they were talking about you don't try to talk your enemy down by calling them fucking names. You know, that's not how you're going to build a bridge in order to have communication. Stop with the name calling right off the bat.
Yeah, and I wish he would do that too as well. I mean, it is. What music you got for me? Because I love your music.
What do I got? I got flack the other day for somebody saying I was playing too girly shit. So I brought some Rage Against the Machine, but with a girl singing. But I want to point out that Glory Jones is going to be stopping by Roar Media tomorrow night to talk about smart oceans with our own Amber King for Brave New Future. So definitely check that out. I will be tomorrow. I will be here for Uncensored. We will not be on YouTube. You'll have to find me on Rokfin and Rumble, but I promise you, I got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
We got Super Rays, by the way.
Okay, I'll get to those. And of course, Beauty and the Boomer on Saturday night. You can hang out with Oz and I. Where's the Super Ray? Oh, Super Rays? No, I already called those out, didn't I? Yeah.
There's two more Super Rays.
Okay, I got Gregory. And Kate's here. Oh, okay. Gregory got one.
We didn't get the second. We didn't get the second Gregory because
Gregory's
second one it says, if the Crips and Bloods can call a truce, then I believe so can trainee Crips and gays against grooming Bloods. You know, Greg, you're too much, man. I don't think we're on the screen. Are we on the screen?
He's not wrong. Yeah, no, we're not on the screen here. Hold on. I was busy looking at the rock.
Why are you putting a picture of Oz up when I'm speaking?
Oz the Boomer. Because he's working hard on pumping out a Beauty and the Boomer for us.
He's the Boomer? I thought he was the Beauty.
He's the Beauty. I'm the Boomer. I'm not even a Boomer. I'm a Gen Xer. Come on.
I didn't mean beauty like in looks, because obviously you're the better looking one on the show because he's got to wear hats and wigs and stuff. I thought like you're a beauty, like a New York. What a beauty over there.
You're a beauty.
Like, kind of like the opposite.
I want to shout Kate out. Kate says, baseball went to hell when the Milwaukee Braves moved to Atlanta. Pasta made baseball great again with the little leagues in Cuba. Thanks, Pasta.
Yeah. And I'm going to go again. And even though I got detained and the U.S. State Department and the Border Patrol is obviously keeping their eye on me, wondering why I'm going there. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I ain't working for nobody. I'm independent. I'm a journalist. Right. I ain't working for no government, nowhere. I work for the people by spreading the truth and what I see and doing the reporting that, you know, from where I go. And I'm going to go bring more baseball equipment. And I want to thank everybody out there, people like Charlie Robinson, people like my friend Sean Simpson, people like Deborah Wilson, all these people who made it possible for me to put some money into some baseball equipment to take over there. And I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm going to spread love. And I'm going to show it. And maybe one day we can get a game where if they lift these fucking sanctions and we can have some of our kids from Little League go over there and play in Cuba and just really show the people what it's about.
That's a goal, really Pasta. That's a good goal. That is a damn good goal.
That's what I'm looking for.
I stand with you. I love what you're doing over there. And I want to get to Cuba with you. I was supposed to be there on the first trip and I didn't make it. So I'm hoping I can make it
the next one.
Times.
You come on the next one. We go together.
You plan to like you're going, I'm going Friday. I'm on the other side of the country. It takes me a lot of money and a lot of time to get to Cuba.
We'll have to do a fundraiser.
We will have to do a fundraiser.
And the best way for us to do a fundraiser, guys, is if you share this video, you get more people there. YouTube's still shadow banning us and keeping us both down. We've been demonetized for a while. Shannon and they've been getting their ass kicked too as well. So share. If there's anybody who clips up shit, clip shit up.
Clip it. We would love. We need somebody who can do clips, man. All of us. That's the one
on
place
Rumble?
that. We are on Rumble. Hey, Rumble. Kate's over there. Dingo's over there. Aerowaves is over there. We are on Rumble.
Fred.
On Rumble.
Fred Edward, the peppers are coming in. The peppers are growing.
Mine are growing too, but we're not getting a lot of heat up here. So mine are they're tiny. They're going to stay tiny. Let's see.
I heard Beauty and the Boomer had small peppers.
We have small peppers. It's because it's cold where we are. They can't get big because it's
They're
small. It's
always
cold.
using the cold as an excuse for
It
why they're
is
small.
cold here. It's
Always
right
using the
now.
cold for an excuse why they're
It's
small.
60 degrees and mostly sunny on my computer right now. 60 degrees where I am. If you guys want to help us out, all of Pasta's donation sites are in the link below. If you are on the YouTube, and Rokfin's donation site or description box has been a nightmare lately. Don't even get me started. So we appreciate you guys helping us out. And yeah, Pasta, I think we're out of here. This is Sleep Now in the Fire. And this is a cover by My Fair Friend. Got anything else to say?
I love you, Shanda. I love
love
Oz. I love everybody over there.
We love you guys.
Fucking Amber, the whole crew. Thank you guys so much. I am so glad and proud to call you guys my brothers and sisters
I
in
feel
this
the
fight
same
together.
way.
Thank you. You are
Fam, man.
definitely
We're all
fam.
fam. Damn
And
right.
thank you to everybody who's watching, supporting. Thank you to everybody who's throwing a
We
couple
had great
dollars in there.
numbers. Yeah.
We got a lot of shit good coming, fam.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, Pasta, what are you going to do now that you left the morning show? Don't worry, I left for a reason, not because I had future plans for myself. You're going to see a lot of stuff from Pasta coming up. I am not sitting down quietly. I got a lot of stuff to come, a lot of fun stuff too as well. I'm going to bring some fun to the seriousness that's going on there. So don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to see a lot more stuff out of me.
Okay, you got anything else you're doing today? No convos, no stop offs anywhere? Okay.
I only worked on Thursday to work with you, girl. That's it.
Thanks. I'm glad you did that. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for Uncensored. Same bat time, same bat channel. And have a great day, guys.
Hush, little baby, don't say a word, or Papa's gonna silence you.